What's up, everybody? I haven't been on in so long. It's crazy. I've been traveling a lot, been doing a lot of interviews. I have an interview with Danny Carey, drummer from Tool, coming out. I have an interview with Bob Clearmountain, who basically invented mixing, modern day mixing. And I have another interview that I can't talk about that I've filmed, but I can't announce it for another couple weeks. We're gonna do a song breakdown today. So one of the things that I have not been doing enough of, that I'm going to return to, is my song breakdowns. I'm going to stop doing as many of my inside baseball videos on the music business. I'll still do those occasionally, but I want to get back to song breakdowns. What makes a song great? My top 20 countdowns. I want to do more music playing on the channel. So I've got my keyboard set up back here again. I got my guitar on this. For this, we're going to do some melody analysis, and I'm running a sale through tomorrow night at midnight. That is a sale we rarely do. My entire Beato bundle for $89 and my arpeggio course for $75. So they're both on sale. The arpeggio course has not been on sale for a long time. And it's been $150 for months because I haven't been doing any live streams or anything. And I apologize for that, but I've been traveling so much. And I see a comment there, no content on Jacob Collier. I was supposed to interview Jacob Collier 2 times so far that we had to cancel. But Jacob will, I'm sure, be on at some point in the near future. So just real quickly, so the Beato bundle is my Beato Book. These are all video courses. My Beato Book online video course, it's music theory. My ear training course, which has programming in it, but it's online videos. And then my beginner guitar course and my Quick Lessons Pro, which is like an intermediate course. And then, of course, my arpeggio course that I came out with. That's a really in-depth course on how to practice arpeggios on guitar. We'll talk about that because I'll incorporate it in our John Lennon song breakdown. And this particular song that we're going to break down, I'm going to talk about how the melody is constructed and how John Lennon likes to use really sophisticated interval jumps. And you're like, what does that even mean? Well, I'm going to tell you what it means here in a minute. But we're going to talk about this. Now, just quick note, I'm tuned down for this song because it's high to sing. So I'm tuned down a half step. But we're going to talk about it as if it's in the key of D. And it's across the universe. I talked about it in my last video, but I want to actually do a breakdown on the song because it's got a very sophisticated melody and chord progression that's kind of easy to understand, but the melody over the chords is very sophisticated. So I'm going to bring up my trusty iPad view here where I can actually write on my iPad and talk about the melody. So for those of you that don't know Across the Universe by Lennon and McCartney, it's really a John Lennon song. It starts, let's see if you can see my hand. So it's like, words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. They slither while they slip away across the universe. So I'll borrow 5. 5 pools of sorrow, waves of joy are drifting through. Open mind, possessing and caressing me. Now, there's so many cool things that go on here, but what I want to talk about first is the theory of the harmony. Okay, so what are the chords here? What key are we in? So we are in the key of D major. So I'll put a little D major here. And when we talk about for those of you that haven't been on live streams here, when we talk about theory, we're going to talk about Roman numeral analysis. So what number chord in the key are these, for example? Okay, so D is the 1 chord here, okay? So you have in the key of D majors, you have the 1 chord is D major, the 2 chord is E minor, and the 3 chord is F sharp minor, okay? So this chord is the 3 minor. Now, when we write minor chords, we use lowercase Roman numerals. And then the 4th chord in here, the 3rd chord in the progression is the 2 chords, E minor 7. So I'm going to put a minor 2, that's a lowercase Roman numeral with a little 7. It's an E minor 7 chord. Let me see if I got to get it in your thing here. So it's like played like So you add this note D at the 3rd fret here. And then to the A major, which is the 5 chord, and then it goes to the 5-7. Now, let's talk about the melody. This is what's really interesting about this. So it starts on the root. So it's like words are flowing out to the major 7th right here, out like endless. So it goes to the root, to the 7th, then to the 6th. There's a passing note down to the 5th. And then it kind of bounces around 5th, 6th, 5th. And then this note becomes the 3rd on the F sharp minor chord. So words are flowing out. Hear that beautiful dissonance of that major 7th? Out like endless rain to the 3rd of the chord. But he goes rain into, to keep that motif going, rain into a paper cup. It's beautiful, right? It's going before from the flat 3rd on F sharp minor, da, 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 da. And then to the same motif on the E minor, da, 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 na, 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 na. It's brilliant. He does these themes that just go back and forth. So this is the 3rd to the 4th on the E minor chord, 3rd, 4th, 3rd, 4th. Okay, that's the 3rd and 4th of the chord that we're on. So the E minor, the 3rd of E minor is the note G. The 4th of E minor is the note A. It's a 4th, it's a perfect 4th above the root E minor. And then the A, he goes root to the 9th, da 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 da, up to the 3rd, and then he makes it an A7 chord because it resolves perfectly back to the tonic, right? Here, where it goes to Pools of Sorrow. That's back to the root of the D major chord, right? Very, very simple and sophisticated at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to go back to full view here because I want you guys to be able to see the chords here for those of you that play guitar. So, words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. It's really simple chords. The way across the universe. And he goes to that A7 and he adds an extra beat. So it's a 5/4 bar. And then pools of sorrow, waves of joy are drifting through my open mind, possessing and caressing me. I love this. This is a 4 minor chord. I'm going to go back to this. Right here, we have a borrowed chord from the parallel minor key. Now, if you have my Beato book that you can get by buying my entire Beato bundle for $89, you'll know what a 4 minor chord, but I'm going to explain it to you anyways here. So we go back. The chords are the same here. So it's the 1 chord, D major, to the 3 chord, F sharp minor, back to the 2 chord, but then we have the 4 minor. Okay, so the 4 minor is borrowed from the key of D minor. Okay, so you'll say, well, what is the key of D minor? Okay, so D minor, I'm going to go back to here. So in the key of D major, we have the chords. So the 1 chord is D major, the 2 chord is E minor, 3 chord is F sharp minor, 4 chord G major, 5 chord, 6 chord, and then 7 chord is C sharp diminished back to the tonic chord. Now, you should be able to hear these things, right? If I'm playing this, as soon as I hear that, I'm like, oh, that goes to the 3 minor. How do I know it goes to the 3 minor? Because I can hear that root motion, or da, da. I can hear that root motion from the root of the tonic chord to the root of the 3 minor. Okay? So then it goes down to the E minor 7, possessing and caressing me. Okay, so this chord, this borrowed 4 minor chord, why do I call it a borrowed chord? Because normally in the key of D, the 4 chord is G major, but here, and 4 minors are actually unusual. They're really beautiful. When I say it's borrowed, it's actually borrowed from the key of D minor, okay? Now, if we talk about the key of D minor, we just talked about the key of D major, the 1 chord, 2 chord, 3 chord, 4 chord. In the key of D minor, you have the 1 chord, okay, so D minor, if I go here, so you can see it here, then the 2 chord would be E diminished, and then the 3 chord is going to be F major, the 4 chord is G minor, okay? So that it's called the parallel minor key because D major is the key that we're in. Parallel minor key is D minor, okay? So it has a whole different set of chords. The 1 chord's minor, the 2 chord's diminished, the 3 chord is major, the 4 chord is minor, okay? And that's where that 4 minor comes in. It comes in from the parallel minor. Now, the 5 chord could be a bunch of things, okay? The reason I said that this is, the melody is, na, 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 na. Okay, so this is really, this is what's interesting about this. On the G minor, it goes through to the major 7. So that gives you a hint as to where that's coming from. That major 7 on the, beautiful, right? I added those chords to the melody notes because I put the melody notes under that G minor chord. That is so good, but what's even better is what comes after this, the chorus, the melody of the chorus, where he goes, Jagaru Deva, oh, nothing's gonna change my world. My voice is really scratchy. Nothing's gonna change my world. Okay. So, somebody wrote this F sharp minor chord here. Da 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 da. Or I'm sorry, the F sharp minor. The E minor here. It says E minor over A, E minor 7 over A. It's really like an A. I'm just playing it as just a straight A major. I think it's easier to analyze like that. And then, because that's really kind of what the voice leading does that you hear. So the melody, let's talk about this melody. This J Garu Deva. That is so intervallic. It's so sophisticated. Nobody writes melodies like that. And then all those beautiful interval jumps. Let's talk about those. So the chorus goes back to the 1 chord, and you have the 3rd to the you have the 5th to the 3rd to the 5th to the root to the major 7. Beautiful, right? I love the do 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 to the 9th or the 2nd do do to the root. Da, 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 da. That's like Bach or something. That is absolutely brilliant. This is this sophisticated, maybe Indian influenced melody here, but to me it's very Bach-like. Bachian. It's hard to say that word here. So this, all the interval jumps, right? He goes Deva Om, down a fourth. When I say down a fourth, you're going from the root here, down the interval of a perfect fourth, down to the A. And that note, let's say that we're talking about this A major chord. That is the root of the A major. And then jumps up to the fifth of the A7. Da, 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 da. John Lennon does all these interval jumps. Think about songs like... Da 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 da. This. Who thinks of melodies like that? When I did the I'm the Walrus breakdown on here and talked about the melody in that, it's the same thing. It has all these skips all over the place. And you know what? Those skips make it memorable because it makes the melody so strong. Okay, so it's a fifth of the chord to the fourth, fifth, down to the flat seven. So fifth, 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 fourth, fifth to the flat seven. I know you can't see that. I'm trying to show you this hand here. So fifth, 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 fourth, fifth, flat seven, and then it goes to the fifth of the G major chord. Like he didn't go to the sixth. He didn't go to the ninth. He went to the fifth of it, right? Da 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 da. Fifth, 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 fourth, fifth, third. See that huge interval jump there from the D way down to the F. So the D is the fifth of this chord down to the third of the D major chord. Now, this you rarely find, really in the Beatles, but John Lennon, even more than McCartney did this too. But Lennon's melodies were very angular, very sophisticated, a lot of interval jumps. When I demonstrated Norwegian Wood, right? Da, 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 da. That's the wrong key that's in. It kind of bothers me. It's in the wrong key, but you don't care. I once had a girl, or should I say she once had me. Now, where do you come up with a melody from that? Some of you may say, well, he just wrote the guitar part. Well, but why did he write that in the guitar part? That's not something that I guess you could say that it rolls off the fingers nicely, but does it really? That doesn't really roll off the fingers naturally. I bet he thought, no, there's no way he was just playing a D chord. He came up with a riff on guitar. And then in that song, there's an interval jump. Even there, right? So we're in D major. Even though I have a capo, it's actually an E major, but he goes to relative minor. He goes to, in the chorus, the parallel minor that we just talked about, right? He goes to that parallel minor chord. Na, 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 na. So I looked around and I noticed there wasn't a chair. That lift, because you go into the 2-5-1 to get back into the tonic of that, right? So all of these chord things, when I talk about 2-5-1, if you get my Beato book, if you buy the bundle here for $89, it's I rarely do this sale, and I never do the sale of both my bundle for $89. That's the lowest price I ever do. I only do it 4 times a year. I'm doing it today. And I'm doing my arpeggio course for $75. And this is only till tomorrow night at midnight. So if you want to get it, go to my store, click on another tab, because I want to do a little bit more analysis on this right now. But this is these things are explained in both my Beato book and the ear training course, because there's two parts to this. Because ear training, being able to hear this stuff and saying, oh, that's the 1 chord. Oh, that's the 3 chord. That's the 2 chord. That's the 2 minor 7. That's the 5 major. No, then it goes to the 5 dominant, 5 7. And then it goes back and then it goes to the 4 minor. Well, why is it a 4 minor? Well, read the chapters on parallel minor. You'll talk about these borrowed chords. I have a whole chapter on it. One of the chapters is called in the Beato Book Interactive. It's interactive because it's a video course, right? I call it chords for songwriters, because these borrowed chords that he uses, I have the theory on why it works and how parallel minor chords work, parallel minor keys work. But chords for songwriters are chords outside of the key that you're in to develop, to make your songs more interesting, right? Because that's really the name of the game, is to how do I make my song more interesting? Well, it's not just writing better lyrics, because these are some of the greatest lyrics ever written. It's also a great melody. It's a perfect melody. So if you put the lyrics here along with a phenomenal melody, right? Then you got everything. Now, some people said in my video, Rick, come on, look at the She Loves You Beatles songs. Well, they had to write those songs so they could get to the Rubber Soul record and Revolver, and they could start writing these, and then later on writing these even more sophisticated songs on Sgt. Pepper and the White Album and the Let It Be, and then by the time you're on Abbey Road, you're just in a completely different world, right? So this is the thing, is that the sophistication of John Lennon's lyrics, though, right? Or his melodies and lyrics. But if you look at, I know I'm tuned down a half step. It drives me nuts because I don't have perfect pitch, but I know it doesn't sound right here. I can't hear it in that key. It's so weird. I'm trying to do I'm the Walrus. And he's going from use that sharp 4 5th to the sharp 4 on the A chord. Da, 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 da. Da, da, da. Oh, nobody does that. Sharp 4. From F major to B major. Da 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 da. I am the there's that interval jump like I'm talking about in I'm the Walrus. A 7th, flat 7 interval. How do I know it's a flat 7? Because my ear training course teaches you that. You get it for $89, all the 4 courses for $89, one-time payment, no, yearly charge or anything like that. You also support the channel. I mean, this and the arpeggio course. The arpeggio course, you learn all the arpeggios that go with these things, right? And then, the arpeggio chord teaches how to play all the arpeggios to all these chords here, too. Like when it does the shepherd tone at the end of I'm the Walrus. This is so amazing. I love that. Sharp 5 on the B major chord. Unreal. John Lennon. Genius, right? But how do you figure these songs out on one listening? You get my ear training course. So not to be funny here, the other thing about this, and this may not even matter to you guys, but when you buy something to become a better musician from my store, my ear training course or the arpeggio course here, $89, one-time thing that we're doing on the ear training course, or the 4 courses together for $89. And the arpeggio course, I use this money to pay Tom, my assistant, to pay GL, who's in the control room here when he comes in to record. When I have Andy Summers come in, I bring GL in here and I have to pay Pavel that comes in and films those things. Tom and I filmed most of the videos here, and Tom and I edit the videos, and John. But I basically, when I travel to interview George Benson and Michael McDonald and Stuart Copeland and Pat Metheny and Keith Jarrett and Kirk Hammett and all these people, I pay for all that. Why? Because it's important to me to provide these things for free on YouTube. That's why. I don't do any deals with any companies or anything. I always say this, but I don't want somebody telling me, you know what? Why didn't you ask this question? Or the Daniel Lanois, nobody's going to watch a 3-hour interview. It's like, well, somebody will watch a 3-hour interview. Well, 1 million people have watched my 3-hour Daniel Lanois interview about the Peter Gabriel So album and the Us album and Unforgettable Fire and Joshua Tree and Octung Baby and All You Can't Leave Behind and the Robbie Robertson record and Bob Dylan, the 2 Bob Dylan records and the, Emmylou Harris record he did and the Willie Nelson record that he did. People want to know about these things. And when I go and interview Maynard in Phoenix, or where does he live? In Jasper? Is that right? Where is it, Mike? Where does he live? I got to fly out there to Phoenix and then drive to where Maynard is and go to his restaurant and interview him. The Daniel Lanois thing, I had to fly to LA. I don't have anybody paying for that. I take all the money I make from selling my courses and I put it into, you guys become better musicians and are understanding these things I talk. When I talk about a 1 chord, a 2 chord, a 3 chord, or I talk about a flat 7 on a thing, or I do an analysis like this. I don't charge for doing my analysis like this here. It's, but it improves you as a musician, and it allows me to go and pay out of my own pocket to interview these people, to put them on YouTube for free, because it's important for music history to document first-person accounts of these people, whether it's Danny Carey from Tool and asking him how he comes up with his drum parts in Tool's rehearsal space, where he told me the story about when they moved in there and that every Tool song ever has been written in this one space, which is unbelievable. Where do you see that? It's incredible. Or I go to George Benson's house and I talk to him about, the Breezin' album and The Other Side of Abbey Road and Weekend in LA and all these incredible records that he's done. It's, these things are, I'm paying for these. I make these videos so that, because I wish there was something called YouTube when I was a kid, and I wish that I could know what Sting was thinking when he wrote a song, or what Dominic Miller thought about when he was, coming up with parts on whatever. I mean, I'm thinking about when he joined in 1990. I want to ask the people all the questions. Andy Summers. It's hard to actually fathom that when these people come here, that Andy Summers is sitting right here in this room, and it's like, wait, this is the same guy? I mean, I already interviewed Sting, and then Andy Summers comes in, and I think, wait a minute, so he's that guy that, you know, like he's the guy that played that on the record. It kind of warps my mind in a minute. And when George Benson, I say, so George, when you were singing This Masquerade or playing Breezin' or you know, Anthropology or whatever, or I mean, Billy's Bounce, you know, any of these songs. I didn't talk about Billy's Bounce actually, but amazing George Benson solo and Charlie Parker tune. But it's hard to wrap my head around these people. When I ask Brian May and I'm talking to him about Bohemian Rhapsody, it's like, wait a minute. That's the guy in Queen. He played the solos. You know, he was there when the songs were getting creative. It does warp your mind. And I try to not, somebody's like, I'm curious why Rick is such a poor singer. Do you hear my voice is completely messed up right now? I'm a poor singer because I've never been a good singer. That's why. It's like you know, it's like why does my MCL on my right leg hurt right now? You know, why was one of my dad's legs 2 inches shorter than the other or whatever, you know, just made that up. It's actually that's true because my dad had surgeries on his legs when he was a kid. He had 12 surgeries or so before the time he was 5 because they hadn't invented antibiotics, and he got osteomyelitis back in the 1920s, and he was bedridden for 2 years as a kid. So that's actually a true story. And I did run track, yes, as somebody said in there. So, Rick, didn't you run track? I did run track. I ran and I jumped. Being able to know what you're hearing. You know, somebody wrote to me, a neurologist wrote to me recently. I'm just going to digress for 1 second here, last story here, and said, Rick, do you, I see you find so much enjoyment out of music, yet you can, when you hear this stuff, you know what it is. How can you enjoy something that you can understand analytically? I said, because I don't think about it analytically unless I'm going to teach somebody something or unless I need to use it to try to write something or see if there's another possibility or something, or just figure out a tune to play by ear on a live stream, right? So that's the thing, is that these things that you learn and you use to learn other things. It's kind of like my Kurt Cobain thing that I said, right? Yeah, maybe Kurt Cobain didn't know it, but he knew it intuitively. And knowing it intuitively is just as good as, either way, he filed these things. He had the taste for this. Guys like John Lennon. John Lennon can play the guitar part on Norwegian Wood and come up with it, right? John Lennon came up with some incredibly sophisticated guitar riffs. All those guys did. Paul McCartney came up with incredibly sophisticated piano and bass parts, right? This is why they were able to do this stuff. So they knew what they were doing. And you can know what we're doing because I'm going to tell you what we're doing, or because you get get my Beato Book Interactive, my ear training course, my Quick Lessons Pro, my beginner guitar course, or my arpeggio course that are on sale until 12 o'clock tomorrow night. Anyways, that's my speech on that. You guys are amazing. It's really an honor to be here to talk to you guys. I haven't been on enough lately. I'm going to start coming on once a week, and I never take for granted that you guys are there and are interested in whatever excursions I'm on and whoever I'm interviewing or whatever. If I'm talking about a metal tune or if interviewing Tosin Abasi or interviewing George Benson or interviewing Stuart Copeland or whatever instruments I'm talking about, or Greg Bissonette, or One Day Ringo. You guys are the best. All right. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. See you later.